Hi there and welcome to the Gazette's weekly Hockey Inside Out show. I'm Stu Cowan of the Gazette and I'm joined this week by former Canadiens teammates and 1986 Stanley Cup champions Rick Green and Brian Skrudland, who's filling in for Chris Nyland this week. Guys, the Canadiens played their final game before the Olympic break Wednesday night, beating the Jets 5-1 in Winnipeg, giving them a 4-0-1 record in their last 5 games and improving their overall record to 32-17-8, including 16, 6, and 7 on the road, which is very impressive. Rick, after the game, Marty St. Louis in the locker room, the team had a camera in there, and he said, "I'm effing proud to be your coach." Rick, what should he be most proud about this team?
I think first and foremost is just to see the kind of effort and the commitment that each and every guy is making to try and have successes as a group. And they're showing up, they're doing everything they can possibly do. And, we're seeing the results because of just the hard work and the dedication in trying to do the things that he'd like to see them do. And, I know as a coach, your hands are somewhat tied. You're hoping that the information that you're giving to the guys is going to work. And obviously, when you see it working, you can take pride in giving them the right information that is allowing them some chance to win each and every game. And you got a lot of guys doing a lot of things well and really, really committed to the team. They love each and every one. The chemistry is there. Just a real fine group, and they're on a real good roll, obviously, to keep this thing going. And it's great to see after, dealing with some growing pains early on. And Martin St. Louis deserves full credit for, getting the team playing the way they're playing.
Brian, their compete level is something that impresses me, and that's one of the things I always loved about your game. Your compete level was off the charts, and buying into what Marty St. Louis is selling, just what do you think should make Marty the most proud about this team right now?
Well, I think individually as well, they're playing a much better game, taking care of their own jobs first and foremost, and then of course the big team commitment, getting in front of pucks in the defensive zone and getting in front of the net on the offensive zone. We saw a couple of goals scored last night by having that net front presence, and I think. Sometimes they've been critiqued on the size and the willingness to get to the front of the net, but this team knows how to score goals, and that's one way you certainly do it.
Yeah, they certainly know how to score goals, Rick. The big question mark or big problem this season has been the goaltending. Marty St. Louis decides to go with Samuel Montembeault last night against Winnipeg. He responds with 36 saves. Were you surprised that he made that move, Rick, and didn't stick with Jacob Dobish, who was on a good winning streak?
Well, I'm a little surprised, but it just shows you that Martin St. Louis wants to give this kid a chance to write his game, and for him to allow him the opportunity to play in a situation where obviously everybody is fighting for points. And Montembeault rallied. He found a way to make those timely saves, and he did a great job. And I think everybody's happy, obviously, to see what he's doing, and he's getting the results. And I think the group is really, grabbed a hold of everything they can possibly get to allow this kid to have some success. And he did the job, and they're going to need more of him.
It seemed, Brian, like the team rallied around Montembeault. I mean, he's really well-liked in the locker room. He's been around a long time. As a player, when you see a coach put a goalie back in like that who's been struggling, what's your reaction?
Well, I think that's what they did last night. They after the first period, mind you, because Sam stood on his head. We all know that game could have possibly been out of reach last night after the first period. So congrats to Sam, but the team adjusted, played very well in all 3 zones, and so they can be happy that now they've got a guy who maybe went and that pressure that was sitting on top of him of getting one of these types of games under his belt has now gone. So get back into the flow of things. Hopefully that new goalie coach also stirs some positivity in both of those guys and creates that bond where they can rely on either one of them any given night.
What was your reaction, Brian, when you found out about them firing Eric Rameau and replacing him?
Well, you always wonder about a coaching change during the season, and specifically what it was. I didn't really know him very well personally, so obviously we're seeing in the short term a real change of attitude amongst both these guys, seeing them smile, enjoying the game again, and I think that's the message from the new coach moving forward.
Yeah, and Rick, that's what Dobush spoke about that after Marco Marciano came in, and Dobush knows him well, obviously, because he worked with him in Laval, and Montembeault knows him well. He had him as a goalie coach in junior, and Dobush said that his main message to him, Marciano's main message to him, was just have fun. And I'm wondering if maybe it was a case of with Raymond, it wasn't fun. It was just too much. I wrote a column last week saying, I don't think I ever saw Eric Raymond smile. I didn't know him well, but he just looked like a really serious guy. How much do you think that might help? Just that message to the goalies: just go out there and have fun.
Well, it's tough really to know what goes on behind closed doors, but I think it's one thing remains the same. It's very critical to have a healthy relationship, and the coach and your player. And when you make a move like that, it's a big move, but it so far looks like it's a good move. But I found it interesting that Jeff Gordon seemed reading into it that they weren't prepared to keep Raymond on any more than when their contract expired, because he basically said his contract was up. So it wasn't a question of the job he was doing. It was almost like, well, he was at the end anyway. So an interesting move, but you never know what will happen until you do those moves. And right now, it's looking like a positive move for the goalies.
Yeah, Gordon said it was a similar situation when he fired Dominic Ducharme. It was the last year of his contract, and he wasn't planning to renew him. And the same thing now with Marciano. Rick, you were an assistant coach of the Canadiens for a long time. How involved is the goalie coach in like the day-to-day discussions with the coaching staff or between periods and stuff like that?
Quite a bit, actually. I think they look at scheduling. They look at what guy performs better against certain teams, and they work really closely with them on the technical side of it. And goaltending is technical. They try and massage their mental being, if you will, as well as positionally trying to get them understanding. Go with the percentages, et cetera, et cetera. So it's much more detailed than what it ever was, and it all comes down to the old story: just find a way to stop the puck and do whatever you have to do.
Well, Montembeault stopped a lot of pucks against Winnipeg, and what a nice way for him to go into this Olympic break. He said he's going away with his family. I'm sure be a weight off his shoulder. He'll have a big smile on his face. But Brian, another guy might not be so happy going to the Olympic break. Arber Xhekaj made a healthy scratch last night against Winnipeg with Jaden Struble taking his place. Xhekaj played only 5 minutes the previous game. Were you surprised to see Marty take Xhekaj out of the lineup?
Well, surprised and a little disappointed because I really like the kid. I just think that honing him and giving him that opportunity. I'm watching it. It seems as though Arber, if he makes a mistake, the poor bugger, that's it. He's sitting on that bench for a while, and yet the other guys are pretty free flowing to be able to make that mistake. So I'd like a little more. I'd like to give him a little more rope. Because I think come playoff time, he's one of those guys. He's very capable of moving people around and letting our goalies see the net or see the puck. At the same time, I've really liked the way that he continues to progress. When he's passing the puck, he's doing it with authority. He's shooting the puck with authority, and of course, we all know his physical side of the game. So, and come April, you need those types of guys. So I hope he gets his game corrected, and I hope they give him a little more opportunity.
Rick, I know you're a big fan of Xhekaj. What were your thoughts? And do you think he has a future with this team beyond this season, the way things are going?
I hope he has a future because I like him. I don't know if it's the same mindset of the coaching staff, but it's really tough to put those guys in a position where they're in the lineup, they're out of the lineup. Everything they do is, being watched. They make a mistake, and next thing you know, they're second guessing on how to play their game. And this is really a not a good situation when you have this type of stuff going on. And I know when I used to see the some of the D's struggling, and you didn't get them out on the ice as much as what you'd like to. And I felt really not good about putting a guy out there when he's been sitting on the bench for 7 or 8 minutes, and then sure as hell he's going to make a mistake because his legs are frozen and his brain is not where it should be. And they have to be careful on developing these guys because they are still fairly young as far as experience goes. And one thing will never change. They have to play to get better, and to give them on a string where they're in, they're out. I don't think it's in their best interest in developing these defensemen back there. And
Yeah, I think that might have been the case, Rick, with Arber in Minnesota with the only 5 minutes. It was a close game, and he had been sitting for a long time. And sitting a long time, you want to throw him out there and then have him make a mistake. But getting Struble back in there, some fans seem to think there's something personal with Marty and Arber. I don't think it's that. I think Jaden Struble's been a healthy scratch a lot more often than Arber Xhekaj has this season. I think Marty's trying to get both guys in. But Brian, what have you thought about Struble? And does he have a future with this team moving forward?
Well, that's the tough part, right? When you're that fifth, sixth, seventh defenseman, that's getting that playing time is so critical. So, and I'm not there to watch these guys practice every day, but that's where you make your mark. You got to do everything right in practice, and that was one of the things that I think, looking back on our day, we really practiced hard, and that made it a little simpler for the coach to make those decisions. You just showed that commitment right from the start of practice, right through to the end of practice, and you wanted back in the lineup. That competition used to be 27, 28 guys on the ice, so not 23 where you knew that maybe just one or two could replace you. You had 3 or 4 that could replace you. So I'd just like to see a little more consistency and giving that guy a chance. I know it's tough, Rick. Like you said, it's really hard when you get an opportunity, or you don't get that opportunity to get them out consistently. And of course, the game dictates that and what the score is. So last night would have been a perfect game for Arber to jump in after they got that lead and give them some even more ice time. So we'll see going down the road. I sure hope that it works out.
Yeah, I think that's why Struble had 12 minutes of ice time last night, because it was a big lead, and Marty wasn't afraid to throw him back out there. Nick Suzuki, no break for him. He's headed to the Olympics. I wrote a column this week saying I think he has a legitimate chance, or should get more votes this season for the Selke Award as the top defensive forward. Last year, PK Subban and I gave him a third-place vote, and Craig Button gave him a second-place vote. But I have to think the way he's playing this season, he's going to get a lot more top 3 votes for the Selke.
I would definitely vote him in as one of the top guys for the Selke. This guy is Mr. Dependable. If you watch his intelligence and his positioning and his ability to win battles and be so effective in both ends of the rink, he's a natural. And he creates a lot offensively, but you put him on the ice, he'll block shots, he'll get in the way. He's really strong on his one-on-one battles too, and a great all-around player. This guy just keeps getting better year after year, and he deserves full marks to be in the running for the Selke.
Brian, I know as a center, you took a lot of pride in your defensive game. Didn't produce as much offense as Nick Suzuki, but when you watch Nick Suzuki play as a centerman and as a former centerman, what stands out to you?
Well, just that 200-foot game and the ability to make the right play. I mean, this guy has done it consistently now for a couple of years, and he's got more of a chance this year because the new Frank J. Selke Trophy is named Alexander Barkov Trophy, and he's been out all season long. So maybe Nick's got a chance this year.
Mm-hmm.
I've just loved his game from the drop of the puck onwards, and I'm really excited to see him compete with the world's best, because I think he's going to even make more of a name for himself.
They made him captain, Brian, at 23 years old. Can you imagine being captain of the Canadiens at that young an age? And just what have you thought about how he's handled all that?
That's a lot of pressure, especially in that city. I look back on when I joined and Bob Gainey was our captain. Well, that was the right guy at that time. Larry being an assistant, Greeny being the other assistant, really had a good veteran presence. I think these young guys come in and look at Nick and go, wow, this is like anybody could be this captain, yet at the same time look and follow his attitude, his on ice presence, the way he carries himself off the ice. He's a true captain, and I just am really looking forward to the next couple of weeks.
Well, Rick, as Brian mentioned, you were an assistant captain. You're also an assistant coach. Just that leadership group, just how important is that? And especially with the youngest team in the NHL.
Very important, obviously, to try and lead through example, and also try and stay close to those guys that are maybe struggling in certain areas. And we were fortunate back in our day. We had a good mix of guys that really cared for each other. And I see similarities in this group in the way that they're really tight. They really want to do well for themselves and for their teammates. And they're not shy when it comes to voicing their opinion, I believe, to help guys out to get their A game going. And it seems to be working. And just keep going, guys.
Brian, after the games this season, the Canadiens have it's a wolf head or a fox head hat that they give to the player of the game after every game. It's kind of cool. You see the videos on social media. Back in your days, did you guys ever have that? I mean, every team in the NHL seems to have something now, but was that a thing back when you were playing?
Not really. We waited till Mike McPhee scored a hat trick, and then we'd have a Kojaks at about 2 a.m. To celebrate everything on our way home. So, yeah, it's kind of neat to look around the league, and it's not only in our sport; it's every sport now has something to a little rally cap or a rally wand or something. So, I'm really enjoying seeing the different teams celebrating the way they are.
Rick, did that come in when you were an assistant coach?
No, it wasn't there, and even when I was a player, I wouldn't worry about ever having to wear it, even if there was one. So,
By the way, Greeny, is that your wolf hat they're using?
I'm sorry, Screw.
Is that your wolf hat that they're using in the dressing room?
Yeah, well, I had a raccoon hat, but that I didn't share it.
So, Rick, I mean, this team is growing, the youngest team in the NHL. Is there which player do you think has improved the most this season?
Kapanen. I mean, Slavkovsky's we've talked about how great he's progressed, done great things. Kapanen is what a surprise. I don't think anybody expected him to do what he's doing, and he deserves a lot of credit for a guy that's been given the opportunity, and he plays hard. 18 goals. He's dependable, and he really cares, and he works the right way. And what a big change from what we guessed he would be at the start of the season to what he is today.
Yeah, he's something, Brian. I mean, it looks like they've found their second center that they've been looking for so long without having to give up anything to get him. Would he top your list of most improved guys this year?
Well, I think so. He's tying now for record rookie goal scoring in the National Hockey League, which says a lot. So just continue to grow. I mean, he's got a lot of things to work on yet, but I really liked his game and continue to improve game in and game out.
Another guy, Rick, who's really improved, Lane Hudson. I mean, even after that rookie season last year, he had 6 goals, 60 assists last season for 66 points. This season, he already has 10 goals, 48 assists for 58 points in 57 games. I know plus minus isn't the be all and end all, as you would know better than anybody, but he was -2 last season. He's plus 22 this season. Where have you seen him improve in his defensive game?
I mean, I watch the things that this guy does, and he's so impressive and poised for a young kid, no matter what the pressure situation is. And I always am entertained when I look on the ice and I go, he's down in behind the offensive zone, forechecking, staying in there. It's just like he wants to be part of the creativity on the offensive side, and yet he still is smart enough to realize when it's time to get out of there and get back and be responsible defensively. But imagine this kid, third in scoring, in the league for defensemen, and at 21 years old compared to some of these other guys that have been around a while, and he's getting these type of results with just amazing vision and playmaking ability. With what a future, and more great and bigger and better things are going to be seen from this kid moving forward.
Yeah, he
And I
competes.
think that's what makes these Hab fans so excited right now. Seeing a player like that in the stable is just an incredible bonus. I can't imagine what Billy Guerin or how tough a decision that was to not take that guy, at least as a, as if he's ever going to be a seventh, which he never will be ever again. But that's an incredible player, and man alive, we would love him to wear that maple leaf if he feels like it.
Yeah, well, he's got your compete level, Brian. I mean, he never gives up when you watch him battling, and it's amazing
Really doesn't.
how he can take
And I sort of chuckle at Rick's thought there, like he's the first one in on an offensive opportunity, and yet you look, who's the first guy back? I mean, that ability of skating is it's incredible. It's great to watch.
And a hockey junk game, and all these guys are going to the beaches or whatever. And he was asked after the game last night, he said, "Oh, he's going to the Beanpot tournament in Boston to watch his brother play. He'll probably bring his skates and he'll probably be skating too. You can't keep this kid off of the ice."
He can't get any whiter. He probably gets a tan just standing under a 40-watt bulb, for gosh sake.
Well, Rick, there's a lot to like with this Canadiens team right now. Sitting in a playoff spot, as I mentioned at the start of the show, 4-0-1 in their last 5 games heading into the break. What's your biggest concern moving into this last stretch?
Well, I would like to see their penalty killing get a little bit better on that. On that statistic. To have success, you're going to have pretty good special teams. Obviously, we know their power play is very good. Their penalty killing needs to improve. I still have a little bit of concern with their defensive zone when a team comes to when they're big and cycle the puck well, as far as making sure they're able to contain and do the job that they're supposed to do. And those areas can be improved on, and hopefully that will be. But they're so creative offensively; they can make things happen, and they're a good hockey team right now. And there's no stopping them when it comes down to being able to beat anybody in the league.
Yeah, scoring goals isn't a problem. It's sort of remarkable they are where they are with 2 goalies with save percentages under 900. But Dobish has played really well, and I think that game from Montembeault is big. So goaltending will be a question mark also going forward. What for you, Brian? What's your biggest concern through the last stretch?
Well, Greeny probably hits it right on the head. Now, of course, being a Habs fan and watching them, you see that those bigger players, when they do get cycling, it makes really just all hell breaks loose in the defensive zone. So I hope there's more communication. They've got great mobility and active sticks. And you know what? You just dump that puck out the way they're doing it today, live to fight another day, because if they can get a hold of that puck and not have to spend too much time in their zone, I think they've got a chance against anybody in the National Hockey League.
Well, thanks, guys. Again, that's it for this week's Hockey Inside Out show. I hope you all liked it out there. We'll have 3 bonus episodes coming up over the next few days with Rick and Brian, so you can look for those. The Canadiens don't play again until February 26th when the New York Islanders will be at the Bell Center, so we won't have a Hockey Inside Out show for the next couple of weeks because of that break. In case you didn't know already, Hockey Inside Out is also available now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the Hockey Inside Out YouTube channel.